So we can say, hey, I believe this. We can believe all sorts of things about God, but if we don't engage it with heart and mind and body, then it isn't really changing us. In fact, it can be performative in our lives. It can even be a good performance, but it isn't changing us. It's about, as the psalmist said, serving him. And I heard that Lee say that as well. It was about serving him with gifts and abilities and talents through singing. Ultimately, that's what makes verse 3 real to us. Know that the Lord, he is God. Knowing is engaging your mind, but it's also engaging your will because you're knowing him as God. You're submitting to him. So you're supposed to give your life to him. That means you're supposed to make changes in the way in which you live. That's what it means to ascribe ultimate value to him. But in that, there's also sort of a warning to us. He is God. Don't worship anything else. And certainly don't just worship any old thing. Because giving ultimate value to lesser things, even if they are good things, turns them into destructive things. If you give ultimate value to merely good things, well, you turn them into things that can destroy your life. You do. There's a lot of good things that people turn to in our culture that they ascribe ultimate value to. Work is a good thing, but we can make it, as terms of a career, as an ultimate thing, and therefore it can become a terrible thing. Relationships are a good thing. You were built for relationships, but they can't be the ultimate thing, or they will eat you. They will. Anything that isn't the ultimate thing, and by the ultimate thing, I mean God, that you ascribe ultimate value to is ultimately going to become a destructive thing in your life. That's why the first 2 commandments of the 10 commandments are actually enjoinders to us to worship. You don't think of the first 2 commandments as being worship passages, but they are. God says, don't worship anything ahead of me. That's the first commandment. And don't make anything that you try to make as an image of me or anything else that you might be tempted to worship. Don't create another version of me, in other words. Now, why does he say that? Because he sees in humanity that there is the possibility within us of worshiping anything at all. So he doesn't say, don't worship, it's okay if you worship nothing. That would be better than worshiping, false images. Because it's not even in his mind that we'll worship nothing. He knows we're going to worship something. Because we are always, as humans, especially sinful humans, making something into an ultimate thing. And so the psalmist says, you have to take your heart off of whatever is not God that you're worshiping, and now you have to turn it to worshiping God. Here's the ultimate thing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. This is ultimately what triggers the worship experience for us. This triggers, or should trigger, joy within you, this passage. He's God, but he's not God that just spun a top like the deists think and then sat back and saw what would happen. He's intimately involved in our lives. He's protective of us. He's a shepherd. He made us and we are his. He still wants us. Do you see what we know about God is what triggers worship? That's what triggers the worship here for the psalmist. See, great worship comes from great truth. When the Psalms say, God is our shepherd, that's reminding us of all kinds of stories and accounts and statements and things in the Bible that have to do with God guiding and feeding and protecting us. When he talks about God being a great God, it's hearkening to all these things that God is and God has done. All that recognition then works within us to create an explosion of emotion and appreciation that ultimately drives life change in us. See, worship is not just driving things down into us, it's exploding out of us, causing the change within us. That's worship. It doesn't just occupy the tongue, although that's certainly a good vehicle for us, but it's changing the production of your hearts at its core. That's what's going to change ultimately the overflow that comes out of your own voice. How do you get there? First, you got to occupy your tongue, and eventually that works down into you. And if you want to change your fruits, you have to change what you worship. That's the secret. Really simple. See, a Christian doesn't get to know God in the same place as everyone else because they haven't yet allowed the truth of God deep down where they can move them. But when we know about God, when we learn about God, this is what changes how we worship. This is why the psalmists link worship with truth continually. Psalm 51:14, my tongue will sing aloud of your righteousness. Psalm 59:16, I will sing of your strength. Psalm 59:16, I will sing of your steadfast love. Psalm 138:5, they shall sing of the ways of the Lord. Psalm 119:172, my tongue will sing of your word. Why is the psalmist always going back to these aspects of God to generate their worship songs? Because the true statement about God, combined with the creative beauty, which is song, like music, brings your heart, mind, and body together into a unique experience of God and a unique space before God that you couldn't have done through just left brain study alone. And trust me, I have master's degree. I know what left brain is. Why does it work that way? Well, the easy answer was because, God made it that way. Well, where's the proof that God made it that way? Job 38, let me give you this idea. You have to go to Job 38. You won't see it on the screen because it's throughout the whole chapter. But God, in answering Job, he says, when I laid the foundations of the earth, the stars and the angels all sang with joy. They all proclaimed my glory. Now, the stars sang because the heavens declare the glory of God. See that in the Psalms. The angels sang, though, because new truths about God were made known to them. See, they don't have infinite knowledge. So as God created, new things they became aware of new things in their experience of God. Everything God made, in other words, including the angels, was made to respond to God. And great worship is actively speaking who God is and what he's done. And one of the most interesting passages about music in the whole Bible is actually right at the end of the giving of the law in Deuteronomy chapter 31. God has just made this covenant with Israel, and God knows the human heart. And so here's what he says to Moses. Get this. He says, verse 19, now therefore, write this song and teach it to the people of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the people of Israel. God says, this is my song. Put it into your mouth so that you will know me, so that you'll know what I'm about. Because if you know what I'm about and you don't follow that, that's a witness against you. And this is my method for making sure that you get what I'm trying to say. He knows we want to make just about anything into an ultimate thing. And he knows that our hearts are going to go astray. So when he brings us into worship, what he's doing is he's giving us the reality of God. He's saying, this is your purpose. See, that's what worship does. Worship tells us why, and it tells us who. That's the power of worship, to evangelize us, as it were, to the great truths about who God is, the great truths of the gospel, the good news. That there is a God and a creator who loves us, who wants to be intimately involved in us, and that he is the meaning of life. And that he wants us to know him. That's why we're commanded to sing repeatedly in the Psalms. Over and over and over, they say, sing, as a command. So if you really love something, this is what we need to understand. If you really love something, you don't praise it because you love it. That's maybe hard for us to comprehend and get our minds wrapped around. We don't praise something because we love it. If we really love it, we praise it as part of our love of it. It's not a because of. It's a part of us. You praise something you enjoy because it fills your enjoyment with even more enjoyment, more meaning. When I taste my wife's cheesecake, as I have famously made known, I get an expression of appreciation that is hard to put into words, but I do it. And that doing it expresses even more my enjoyment of it, because now I'm able to tell you all and bring you into this cathartic, wonderful experience. If you haven't had my wife's cheesecake, I'm sorry. I'm making it an ultimate thing, I guess. I better stop. But that's why we want to continually sing songs of praise that capture something different about God. That's why we don't only sing just one song, I don't know, the doxology, let's say. It's not that the doxology is bad. It's actually really, really good. I appreciate everything that it describes to. I enjoy singing the harmonies with it with other people. I feel brought into worship when I sing the doxology. It is good. But it's that the doxology cannot fully describe who God is. Like no set of words in any song will ever fully describe who God is, which means there's always more to say. Because he's an infinite God, there will always be new words and phrases to describe him. So trying to praise God with one song is like trying to get, trying to get the ocean into a thimble. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And yet we need to return to songs that we know, because those songs are tied to experiences. Lee, just sing one for us. And that needs to be a part of our worship as well, going back to songs that we know and saying, this is what happened to me when I sang this song, and drawing up that memory and saying, where have I gone since then? That's the benefit of singing our songs from the past. But we can't stay in the past either. So there's got to be a mixture, is what I'm saying. Only when all of those doctrines start working together in our music and we get the art along with all of the left brain stuff do we start to bring change to our heart, mind, and soul. Those truths produce then for us a heartfelt delight of awe and wonder and amazement, so that we can truly become a true worshiper of God. When you experience it, you express it. That's what we're supposed to do. And the ultimate one receives his proper due from us. When you understand the gospel in your heart and you're able to express it in song, and you're listening to it expressed in song, that changes you. Unless you have not experienced it in your life. Then it's just so much noise. But if you have experienced it in your life, it's going to shape you. See, we need to constantly experience him. We need to listen to his song that he's producing in your heart. And so this is our admonition. This is our challenge. To get all in with Jesus, we need to make our songs known to him. We need to sing with great abandon and joy, even if it's just noise.